Hard off the line, both trucks are even down the straight. Taurus is in trouble. The points battle continues as we approach week 3 of the July season. All 16 monster trucks are tired up, ready to go as pit party comes to a close. Hi everyone, I'm your host tonight, Steve Jones, and we are getting ready to cut 16 of the baddest monster trucks loose out here on the track right here tonight. It's a battle for point supremacy, and they're all chasing that checker flag, and Mitch Brown and Bigfoot currently holds that flag. As we look at round 1 matchups, up first, we're going to see Taurus take on Scooby-Doo, followed by Donkey Kong taking on the Sudden Impact Machine. Well, up first, out of Granite City, Illinois, is Logan Waller in the Taurus Chevrolet. He is set to take on Chantel Bailey in the Scooby-Doo machine out of the Johnson Motorsports race team. Both trucks staged at the line. Week 3 of the July season kicks off now. Who's moving on to round number 2? Taurus, Scooby-Doo, as we go green. Down the straight now, Scooby pulling a lead on him. Taurus trying to come back, and he does. The Taurus Chevrolet moves on to round number 2. Scooby-Doo, unfortunately, is going home. Next up in round 1 action, we've got Ben Wishart in the Sudden Impact Ford out of Frackville, Pennsylvania. He took that truck to the finals the first week of the July season. He's looking to dominate right here tonight. But in that far lane is that rookie sensation, Braden Varga and Donkey Kong. He has been nothing but spectacular out here on the circuit. As we get set to go green down the straight stretch, they're even up and over no man's land, and Sudden Impact came back on him in the big end. He moves on to round number 2. Donkey Kong's on the trailer. Well, up next, the new kid on the block, Zach Jurge in the Titan Chevrolet, has been nothing but impressive out here. He's putting that Chevrolet horsepower down. But in the far lane is last year's Summer Heat Shootout champion, Matthew Riley, now behind the wheel of that front engine design El Toro Loco machine. Both trucks stage as we get set to go green down the straight stretch. Titan pulling a lead on him. Toro trying to play catch up, and the Titan Chevrolet will take the win across the shutdown area. He moves on to round 2. We're going to go down to an MTA replay and try to figure out what happened to El Toro Loco. You see him up and over no man's lane. He had a lead on him, but something cut loose in the truck and put him into the wall. He's out of competition. Well, up next, the 5-time Thunder champion, Bradley Graham and Goldberg in that beautiful futuristic SUV. He has been dominant out here on the track, looking to claim his first win in Goldberg. And in that near lane's the Prowler machine. And we're taking you down to the MTA shop. They had to leave the stadium, go back to the MTA shop, and figure out what was going on with the Prowler machine after that hard rollover last week. The crew thrashed all week long, and they were able to make the call right here tonight. They showed up at the track. Even if they don't claim a win, they do get the points just for showing up in round 1. But both trucks stage now at the MTA starting line. Goldberg, Prowler, as we go green down the straight stretch, they're even up and over no man's land, and it's all Bradley Graham and Goldberg. As they put the Prowler team back on the trailer early, they definitely showed up to play, but Prowler's going home. Next up in round 1 action, we've got Aaron Church out of Killdover Hills, North Carolina. He's driving that black and green wrecking machine Gravedigger. But in the near lane is the man who's been taking MTA by storm, newcomer Jeffrey Skipper out of the Johnson Motorsport race team in that brand new West Virginia Mountaineer. He's looking to take that flag back right here tonight. As we get set to go green, Gravedigger, Mountaineer down the straight, Mountaineer pulling on him, but Gravedigger comes back and he shuts out the West Virginia Mountaineer. Aaron Church and Gravedigger move on to round number 2. Next up here in round 1 action, we've got Colt Cobra out of Cobra Creek, Colorado in that Ford Brass Eagle Snakebite. But in that far lane is 7-time Thursday Night Thunder champion Rich Wagner and Captain's Curse out of the Wells Motorsports race team. They're looking for number 8 right here tonight, but they got to knock off Colt Cobra. Both trucks stage at the line. Captain's Curse and Snakebite as we go green down the straight stretch. They're even through no man's land. Snakebite's into the wall. And Rich Wagner and Captain's Curse move on to round 2. Something went wrong with Colt Cobra and Snakebite there in no man's land. We're going to take you now down to an MTA replay. You see them coming down the straight. They're pretty much even. Slight bob of Snakebite loses it in no man's land and into the wall. Rich Wagner moves on. And up next, Chad Legit, the Maximum Carnage champion from earlier this year. He is better known as going full bugaloo out here on the MTA circuit. But in that near lane, 2-time Thursday Night Thunder champion Donald Price Jr. from Poplar Branch, North Carolina, and Son of a Digger. Both truck stage now. Who's moving on to round 2 as we go green down the straight? Son of a Digger pulling on him, up and over the cars. And Donald Price Jr. and Son of a Digger is going to take the win, but don't take nothing away from Chad Legit because he was hanging right there with him in Tropical Thunder. Well, now as we get set to close out round one action, the returning four-time Thunder champion now, Mitch Brown out of Pacific, Missouri, in Bigfoot. But in that far lane, out of the Diggers Diecast race team, is Richard Nelson II in Megalodon. He's looking to upset Bigfoot as we get set to close out round one action. But is Bigfoot going to hold on and shut out Megalodon? Both trucks stage now as we go green down the straight stretch. Bigfoot on a lead, gets out of shape, and Richard Nelson II with a huge upset knocks off Bigfoot in round one. I think Bigfoot's motor cut out through no man's land. Nonetheless, Megalodon moves on to round number two. And ladies and gentlemen, before we get to round two action, we're taking you down to the MTA garage and showing you a brand new truck getting set to debut at the All-American Throwdown at the end of July. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Grinder. You saw it before in a few videos. They are now done with it. The truck is ready and set to make its debut. It is staged at the starting line. We're getting ready to make a test pass, but he's going to jump two monster trucks right out here on the track. As he goes down the straight stretch now, the truck's looking smooth, clears out two monster trucks across the finish line. The Advanced Auto Parts Grinder is going to be a force to be reckoned with as it approaches the end of July for the All-American Throwdown. Grinder is set to make its debut. Now as we get set to move on to round two action, Taurus draws up against Sudden Impact, followed by Titan taking on Goldberg. And up first in our round two matchup out of Granite City, Illinois is the Taurus Chevrolet, Logan Waller behind the wheel. But in the other lane is Ben Wishart out of Frackville, Pennsylvania. He's rocking and rolling in that Sudden Impact Ford. Wishart's been in the game for quite some time. He hasn't been able to come up with the victory, but he's looking to knock off the rookie in the Taurus Chevrolet, Logan Waller. Boat truck stage as we go green. Ford and Chevrolet are up and over no man's land, and it's going to be all Chevrolet. Logan Waller takes the win in Taurus over the Sudden Impact Ford. He's on to the semifinals. Well, up next here in round two action, we've got the new kid on the block, Zach George, in that beautiful 1972 Chevrolet known as Titan, the privateer, coming out running with the big boys, and he's making a name for himself right out here on the MTA circuit. But over in the near lane, five-time Thunder champion Bradley Graham and Goldberg. He is dialing in that brand new piece, and he's doing a heck of a job doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, Titan, Goldberg as we get set to go green. Down the straight stretch, they're even through no man's land. Titan bottles up, and Bradley Graham and Goldberg out of the left lane is going to take the win. They move on to the semifinals. Up next here in round two action, Rich Wagner, the seven-time Thunder champion, independent showdown champion. He is dominated out here on the track, representing the Wells Motorsports race team in that brand new 1941 Willys Captain's Curse. But in that near lane is Aaron Church out of Kill Devil Hills and Gravedigger. He's looking to knock off the veteran as we go green. Both trucks are hard off the line. Gravedigger pulling on him, but Captain's Curse come back on him in no man's land. He comes away with the victory. He puts Gravedigger back on the trailer. Rich Wagner and Captain's Curse seems to have it dialed in. Well, up next here in round two as we get set to close it all out, Donald Price returns out of Poplar Branch, North Carolina in that beautiful son of a digger machine. But over in the near lane, the kid who knocked off Bigfoot in round one, Richard Nelson II out of the Diggers Diecast race team in Megalodon. He upset Bigfoot. Is he going to upset Son of a Digger as we go green down the straight? They're through no man's land, but Son of a Digger closes out the Megalodon. He's in the semifinals. Megalodon was hanging right there with him, but Son of a Digger moves on to the semis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you tonight that July 31st, all 32 trucks are going to be competing for the All-American Throwdown Championship. You are not going to want to miss that as we move on to semifinal action. The Taurus Chevrolet draws up against Goldberg first, followed by Captain's Curse taking on Son of a Digger. Logan Wallard in the Taurus Chevrolet taking on Bradley Graham and Goldberg. And there you see Taurus in the far lane, the rookie Logan Waller behind the wheel, again out of Granite City, Illinois, in the Taurus Chevrolet. He draws up against five-time Thunder champion, that's Bradley Graham and Goldberg. Both trucks are staged. Who moves on to the next round as we get set to go green? Hard off the line, both trucks are even down the straight. Taurus is in trouble, look out, and Goldberg takes the win over the Taurus Chevrolet. Logan Waller lost it right there in no man's land. The truck got squirrely. However, Bradley Graham and Goldberg move on to the next round. And now the MTA track crew and officials are down there to turn the Taurus Chevrolet right side up. Logan Waller was making a good showing out here tonight. Made it all the way to the semifinals. Still dialing in a brand new truck. Unfortunately, just turned it upside down. Doesn't look like he tore up too much, but he's on the trailer for the rest of the night. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, as we close out semifinal action, Rich Wagner set to take on Donald Price Jr. Rich Wagner, again, 7-time Thunder champion. Brand new truck out of Wells Motorsports race team, Captain's Curse. In the near lane, Donald Price Jr., a 2-time Thunder champion in Son of a Digger. This one ought to be a barn burner, folks, as we get set to go green down the straight. They're even, up and over no man's land. Son of a Digger got out of shape. Rich Wagner and Captain's Curse move on to the final round. Son of a Digger got way out of shape as we go down to the MTA replay. You see they were even through no man's land. Son of a Digger goes towards the wall. Rich Wagner kept it straight. He's in the finals. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the finals, we're bringing you back to Maximum Stunts. That's right, we got one good run out of the Maximum Destruction Machine, the Blackout version. But for the first time ever in MTA history, we are going to be attempting a backflip. We may pull it off, we may not. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be spectacular down the straight, and he pulled it off on all fours. The Max D machine has successfully completed the first ever backflip in MTA history. We're going to take you back to a replay. Good speed down the straight as he hits the jump. Nice rotation, lands it on all fours. What a wild ride for the Max D machine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as wild as that was, it is now final time. Rich Wagner, a 7-time Thursday Night Thunder champion, brings the Captain's Curse to the start line out of the Wells Motorsports race team. But in the near lane is 5-time Thunder champion Bradley Graham and that brand new Goldberg. These guys have been duking it out for so long on the MTA circuit. Only one can come out champion. Who's it going to be? They're both in new trucks. They're dialed in. Captain's Curse, Goldberg. It's showtime here on Thunder down the straight stretch. They're even up and over no man's land, and Rich Wagner in the Captain's Curse machine will take the win as we go down to the MTA replay. Both of them hard off the line. Slight edge to the Captain's Curse. Going to approach the first jump. Bradley Graham trying to play catch up in Goldberg. They level out here in no man's lane. Look at the wheel stand by Captain's Curse, putting down the horsepower. And he will take home the win for the 58th episode of Thursday Night Thunder. The Wells Motorsports race team picked one heck of a driver to represent their brand new Captain's Curse. We've been talking about him getting it dialed in, but congratulations to Rich Wagner on your 8th Thursday Night Thunder Championship. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and show you the point standings for Week 3 of the July season. The latter half of the bracket rounds out at 15 points with Donkey Kong, Prowler, El Toro Loco, and Scooby-Doo. And then looking at the top half of the bracket, it's a battle for point supremacy. Now in the lead is Rich Wagner with Captain's Curse at 33 points, followed by Bigfoot, Mountaineer with 30, Titan and Sudden Impact, Son of a Digger, and Goldberg with 28 points. This is the closest battle for points I've ever seen, but who's going to come out on top next week? As always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode of Thursday Night Thunder. If you haven't already, be sure to crush that subscribe button, and I'll catch you down the road. See you next week.
Standing tall up in victory lane, I done brought the pain and now they screaming my name. Yeah, everybody saw me rock the place. Now there's flashbulbs are popping and mics in my face. Always giving the crowd what they need. Now they're wearing my shirts front row to nosebleed. Now the crowd forms is what it's all about. Signing autographs until the lights out. Yeah, it's about that. It's about that. It's been a long time. It's about that.